Imagine also when John started declaring that the Messiah was a lamb, a sacrificial animal who was going to take away the sins of the whole world. Like, what are you talking about, John? What are you talking about sins for? We already have that taken care of in the temple. Well, so they thought. And what's this world talk? The Messiah's meant to fight for Israel against the rest of the world. So just imagine the paradigm shift required to embrace what God was about to do in their midst. And this is why everyone present at Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem actually missed their visitation, believe it or not. Even though the entire crowd was honouring and celebrating Jesus and proclaiming Hosanna to the Son of David. Notice, the Son of David, not the Son of Man. They failed to realise that God himself was visiting them in the person of Christ and had to come as a suffering servant, according to Isaiah 53, to lay down his life for the sins of all mankind. They were shouting Hosanna, which means save now or save us now. But they weren't referring to being saved from their sins. They were referring to Jesus saving them from the stranglehold of Roman occupation. In response to their cheers, Jesus declared in Luke 19, verses 42 to 44, "If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you." That is, they missed or did not discern their visitation from God himself. They saw that Jesus was a mere man. They acknowledged he was Messiah. They said, "You're the Son of David, you're going to save us." But Jesus wasn't meant to just be a man sent from God, like John the Baptist. He was God himself, and they missed that God himself was in their midst. And because of this, their cheers and their celebrations was going to turn to crucify him 5 days later. Because when Jesus didn't do what they thought he was going to do, when he didn't start taking over from the Romans and start his military campaign, but instead went to the temple and started criticizing the leaders of Israel and everything they were doing, they were totally confused and spun out. And then it was quite easy for the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the elders of the people to convince the crowd on Good Friday that they should crucify Jesus and release Jesus Barabbas. So Jesus Barabbas was another Jesus, son of the Father. Bar is son, Abba is father. His name was Jesus, son of the Father. But he was a natural revolutionary. He had already attempted to overthrow Rome in a military campaign. He'd committed murder and insurrection in the city, and he'd been caught by the Romans and thrown into prison. So they wanted Jesus Barabbas. But then the true Jesus, son of the Father, Jesus Christ, Jesus who is called Christ, he was the one that was going to die for the sins of the people. He was the true Messiah. But because of their view of him as a son of David military commando figure, they would then sentence him to be crucified, which actually fulfilled the purpose why he came to begin with. So this is the unimaginably complex and glorious wisdom of God that none of us can even comprehend how amazing God is, how he works out his plan even amongst the evil and the disobedience of his creation. And so as Jesus is riding in on the donkey, he knows all this. That's why you would think he'd be happy that the people were cheering him as he came in, but he actually had sorrow when he saw the city, because the people of Jerusalem were not celebrating for who he truly is, his true identity. They were not worshipping him as the Son of Man, fully God and fully human. They were shouting out to be saved merely to the Son of David, whom they saw as merely a natural male descendant of King David.